Hello everyone, my name is Mike Murdoch. I'm the Artistic Director of Alchemy Theater. Thank you so much for tuning in, I suppose, to the final West Virginia Shakespeare Festival workshop with Mr. Jack Cirillo, Jack Colclough, the director of the School of Theater at Marshall University. We'll be doing some soliloquy work on Shakespeare's, some of Shakespeare's soliloquies today in monologue performance mode, so be prepared to check that out. Thank you all so much for doing this. We get to do these free workshops because of a generous grant from the West Virginia Humanities Council. And we are very proud to get that every year, and we just received that major grant again for the 8th annual next year as well. So we're very excited by that. Sit back, relax, and I will turn this over to Jack. Thank you so much for being here, Jack.
Glad to be here. How are you, everyone, and everyone out there in TV land or video land or whatever kind of land it is. And now I'm going to forget that I've got a camera on me. And we're going to talk a little bit, and then we're going to all get up and do a little something, and then we're going to look at some of your work and talk about it, and perhaps give it a different kind of context, kind of look at it in a different way, perhaps, I don't know. We'll see. So I was thinking about, I've been doing a lot of thinking about this, this gathering, this workshop. We are going to work. I don't know how much shopping there'll be, but there'll definitely be some working. And I've been thinking about a few things. When Mike and Nora talked to me about doing a workshop, and I was like, yeah, sure, well, let's do a Shakespeare workshop. Because to me, that's like synonymous with let's just do some Shakespeare work. Let's talk about it. Let's get involved in it. But damn it, she wanted to have a title, and so then I got to kind of put it in a context of a theme, and what might that be? Comedies, tragedies, tragic comedies, and nothing like that. And so I was reminded of my undergraduate mentor. His name is Roy Fleur. He's just turned 88 years old. And they're naming he, for many years, he ran a fine arts program in the state of South Carolina. I knew him as an undergraduate professor. And Roy was largely responsible for me and my interest in not only theater, but specifically Shakespeare. My aesthetics certainly, for better or for worse, certainly comes from him. He taught me a lot and introduced me to a whole lot more when it comes to working with verse and certainly working with Shakespeare's language. And I remember working on a production of Measure for Measure, a play that doesn't get a lot of play. When I did it, I was probably only familiar with a few of Shakespeare's plays, the big ones, Romeo and Juliet, Midsummer Night's Dream, Julius Caesar, the basic ones you get in high school. And so I was doing an audition for the show. And I was reading a speech of Angelo's, which was a soliloquy. And I read the soliloquy, and he stopped me, and he said, there's something that maybe you don't understand about soliloquies. And I said, well, what's that? And he said, really soliloquies, your point of focus, who you're talking to, can really be one of three things. One, your audience directly. He said this was part of the Elizabethan theater at that time. It was a concept that Elizabethan audiences understood, that you would break the fourth wall, that there really was no fourth wall. There was, that's kind of more of a contemporary notion, but that the actor would make comment on situations that were going on with them. He said in the I learned this later in theater history class, 19th century acting style. They really explored that notion of just dropping character and looking at the audience and go, can you believe this is happening to me? We still use parts of it in the theater. He said the second point of focus it could be, he said, is internal. And you're internalizing an idea. You're speaking aloud your thoughts. You're talking to yourself. He said, now this is a more of a contemporary notion. He said, this is something that, you know, they did in film. He said Laurence Olivier, for instance, did a lot of it in his films. This notion that everything is introspective. To be or not to be, that is the question. It becomes this internal struggle. And I was like, I'm kind of aware of both of these things. And then he said, and there's a third. And I said, well, who would that be to? And he said, to God, to your God, to the creator of your universe, to your soul, your spiritual soul. And it's always hung with me. Every time I direct a Shakespeare play, every time I read a Shakespeare play, I look at the soliloquies and I say to myself, who is this to? Who is he talking? Who is she talking to at this point in time? And sometimes it's very apparent and sometimes not so much. So as I was doing a bit more thinking about this workshop, I knew, I wanted to have us do some soliloquies and kind of play with this notion of who we're talking to. I took a look at a book called Will in the World, Stephen Greenblatt, and there's so many books about Shakespeare, and this is what he meant, and no one really knows. They don't know really what he meant. We think we do, and scholars have made lots of money on it, but John Barton actually imparted that bit of wisdom to me. He said, I don't read it, just read Shakespeare, that's all you need to do. But I remember when I first read the Greenblatt book, I was curious about Shakespeare's view of faith, because he was a product of a very, very difficult time and there were a lot of difficult times when it comes to faith in the history of this world. But certainly if you were an Englishman just after the death of Henry VIII, in the early days of the Reformation, it was a dangerous time for a Catholic, for instance. It wasn't like a small thing. It wasn't like you got a ticket or you got, put in the stocks or something, The English government, the English church, the Anglican church would destroy you. They would destroy your house. They would take from you. You could be killed. And no one would say anything about it. It was the law of the land. You had to go to church, and it had to be to the newly established Catholic version of the Catholic Church. That's what's interesting about it too, is that so much of the Catholic faith at that time was used to kind of build this new Protestant faith. And I was reminded, and the reason I went to the book is because he talks in this one chapter about William Shakespeare's parents and how no one was very clear about the faith of John, his father, because throughout Shakespeare's life, he was a self-professed Anglican. He was a self-professed Protestant. But he was most likely a Catholic originally, because he was born and lived during the time prior to Henry VIII establishing this new church. Mary, it was well documented that she was Catholic. Okay? She didn't live that way. She lived as a Protestant because they didn't want to get in trouble. Remember that Shakespeare's father was a man of high standing in the community. He was also a bit of a ne'er-do-well, from what we understand. Glover by trade, but he became a sheriff, which is kind of like a mayor. But he had some issues that supposedly Shakespeare fixed for him later in life, including establishing a family's coat of arms. Well, in Shakespeare's plays, and let's look at Hamlet for a second, because you're all familiar with it. You've done the play. Hamlet is oops, I'm losing my microphone here. Hold on. Hamlet is a decidedly Catholic play. There are Catholic notions at work here. This notion of Claudius confessing. I mean, he goes through, there isn't a priest there with him, but he is down on his knees speaking to God. We assume it feels like a confession. He does in fact confess. The notion of Ophelia not being able to be buried in hallowed ground because she committed suicide. There's just a number of things in the play, this notion of purgatory. The old King Hamlet, the ghost of Hamlet, talks about, notions that sound like purgatory. I can't remember if he actually uses the term purgatory, but he talks about this place of waiting, right? Talks about this horrible place that isn't hell, but it sure as heck ain't heaven. It's purgatory. So the Catholic Church kind of figures into all of this. And it stands to reason that Shakespeare, when he's writing these moments of deeply personal truths about the characters, I do want to talk a little bit about truth in a soliloquy, that they're sharing these deeply seated, deeply important things with someone. And I think oftentimes it is God. Romeo and Juliet. Now we don't think of that. Yes, there's a friar in there, and it's, I guess, Catholic in that sense, but Italian Catholics. But Romeo, when he first sees Juliet, it's technically a soliloquy, right? He's by himself. She's there, but he's not talking to her. But if you look at the language in the piece, he is talking to a deity per se. He is talking to the sun. He is talking to the moon. And he's referencing them in kind of the Roman or Greek faith, right? Of that mythological beings. We see that quite a bit. Shakespeare bounces around with different kinds of approaches to deities and gods. So I think that's kind of interesting as well. I would like to begin by having you consider who your audience is in your monologue. Who are you talking to, really, truly? If it is to the audience, then let's talk to the audience. And that audience can be one people, it can be, what do we got here? 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 people. Let's talk to those people. Let's share
10
this.
billion people on the internet.
Yeah. Let's share the monologue with them. But then let's also consider what the piece does when we make it perhaps more internal, more defined by what we're going through emotionally. We've all had moments, right, where we talk to ourselves certainly. I mean, sometimes we do it just in, oh God, I can't believe you just did that, Jack. Those kinds of things. But sometimes we do have extended conversations. Maybe not everyone. Maybe I'm revealing something about myself. I don't know. But I do work through problems, sometimes aloud, because sometimes I gotta kind of hear what that sounds like. early in teaching, I would run through what I was going to talk about by myself because I just want to hear what the words sound like. And then, of course, talking to God. And the last thing I want to say about this right now is the fact that talking to God is so personal. It's such a personal thing. Now, I remember when I first came to West Virginia and spent some time here and was around a lot of the Baptist churches here, and I had no experience in that. I grew up Catholic. I only went to Catholic churches. I had a friend who was a member of a congregational church, and they sang good Christmas carols on Christmas Eve, so we would go there, but that was it. Then I moved to the Northwest, and aside from my own faith, there were a lot of Mormons there, and I got to kind of be around the Mormon faith a little bit, and that was curious. To me, it was very unique. But then when we came here, my wife and I, we had a small child at the time, and we started sampling churches to figure out where we wanted to go. And I remember the first time going to a Baptist church, 26th Street Baptist Church, a little church down the end of the block where my mother-in-law used to live. They were in the poor neighborhood. Anyway, I remember going to the church, and people were standing up in church and talking out loud and offering thoughts and opinions and voice. And I'm like, you can't do that. You can't do that. That's not allowed in church, not my church. It was so surprising to me. I thought it was interesting. I thought it was kind of wonderful. And so I find that my Baptist friends particularly are very comfortable with their faith. I'm not. I'm very private about it. And so talking to God specifically as a character, it puts me in a different headspace. It makes me feel a bit more vulnerable. I'm going to share with you this one speech of Angelo's. There it is. Okay. Oh, do I want to get to that too? Maybe. No. We'll do this now. So, in Measure for Measure, there's a character, the Duke, and he's kind of like the king. He's the figurehead of the city. And the city is in Vienna. And the problem in Vienna is that the city is going to hell in a handbasket. It's a mess right now, particularly with vice. Okay? And so the Duke, this figurehead, says to his counselor, he says, look, I haven't figured this problem out. Of course, I'm paraphrasing here. I haven't figured this problem out, so I'm going to hightail it for a little bit. And this guy that's a member of our court, named Angelo, he's a really rigorously proper, good person. I'm going to put him in charge because he'll kind of maybe lay down the law and maybe kind of bring some order to what's going on here. And so they bring Angelo in, and the Duke says, I got to go out of town for a while. I think you're going to be in charge. You do what's right. Angelo goes, great, honored, glad to do it. And in the first day of the job, this nun apprentice, a novice, shows up in his court and says, I need your help. This is my petition. My brother has been condemned to die by a law that you just reenacted, which basically states that if you get a woman pregnant out of wedlock, you must be executed. Pretty harsh. And so she says, I'm here to appeal. Please don't kill my brother. He loves her. She loves him. This is, they're good people. Please don't make him pay the penalty. And Angelo's like, I hear what you're saying, but no. The law is very clear. It's black and white. You fornicate, you die. That's it. We're not messing around. So she petitions even further, and she's very passionate about it. She's like, please, you must, you must, you must. And he says to her, look, I'll think about it. You go away, come back tomorrow. I'll let you know what we can do about it. Thank you so much. Thank you for thinking about this. She leaves, and he has this speech. When I would pray and think, I think and pray to several subjects. Heaven hath my empty words, whilst my invention, hearing not my tongue, anchors on Isabel. Heaven in my mouth, as if I did but only chew his name, and in my heart, the strong and swelling evil of my conception. The state whereon I studied is like a good thing being often read, grown feared and tedious. Yea, my gravity, wherein let no man hear me, I take pride, could I with boot change for an idle plume which the air beats for vain. O place, O form, how often dost thou with thy case, thy habit, wrench off from fools and tie the wiser fools to my false seeming. Blood, thou art blood. Let us write good angel on the devil's horn. 'Tis now the devil's crest. Okay, so here's this guy who throughout the entire scene, except for maybe one or two asides, which is kind of like a mini soliloquy where he makes a comment about the fact that he notices the beauty of this young woman, he has gone from being a saint to being a lech, a pervert, a demon. He's going to use her for personal gain, so to speak. And when she comes back the next day, he basically says, all right, I can save your brother, but you got to sleep with me. And she says, well, if you do that, I'll tell everyone. And he says, really? Who's going to believe you? I'm the Duke. My name is Angelo. I'm a Puritan. Nobody in a million years would believe you. This soliloquy leads to another soliloquy later on where he's wrestling with this. If you do these soliloquies with the notion that you're talking to God, boy, it's powerful, because you're admitting your sin. You're admitting your humanity. You're admitting your falseness. And it puts it on a different kind of level. And let me tell you, it feels pretty icky. Particularly if you're someone who has a set of ethics that knows that something like this is just so wrong. So wrong. There are certain political people that might benefit from seeing this play. I don't know. Okay, so what I'd like to do, let's have you all get up here and find your own private Idaho. Find your own little space. And come on up. And what we're going to do is I'd like you to take your monologue and as fast as you can, getting your mouths around it. This is just a way to kind of get our tongues and oral cavity working. Let's go ahead and speak the words as quickly as possible, really paying attention to the consonants more than anything else. All right, and I'll do one with you, okay? And I'm just going to say 1, 2, 3, go. We're all going to do it all at the same time. All right, so no one is really listening to anyone. All right, We are amazed, and thus long have we stood to watch the fearful bending of thy knee, because we thought ourselves thy lawful king. And if we be, how dare thy joints forget to pay their awful duty to our presence? If we be not, show us the hand of God that hath dismissed us from our stewardship, for well we know no hand of blood and bone may gripe the sacred handle of our scepter, unless he do profane, steal, or usurp. And though you think that all as you have done have torn their souls by turning them from us, and we are barren and bereft of friends, yet know my master God omnipotent is mustering in his clouds in our behalf armies of pestilence, and they shall strike your children yet unborn and unbegot that lift your vassal hands against my head and threat the glory of my precious crown. Tell Bolingbroke, for yon methinks he stands at every stride he makes upon my land as dangerous treason. You can say it again. Keep going. Keep going. Dangerous treason. He has come to ope the purple testament of bleeding war, but ere the crown he looks for live in peace. 10,000 bloody crowns of mothers' sons shall become the flower of England's face. Change a complexion of maid pale peace to scarlet indignation, and bedew her pastures grass and faithful English blood. Okay, so, couple people having issues, concentration issues, perhaps?
Yeah.
Yes?
Yes.
Yep, trying to focus on your own.
Yep.
Don't say you can't, we'll get to it. What else? Did it familiarize you with your speech? Do you know it well enough to be able to be facile with it? Yes?
I don't know, maybe that
Nora, let's start with you.
No, maybe that was the problem. Maybe I didn't know it well enough.
Well, let's just try it, okay? Just as fast as you can say.
Oh, yeah, I don't know about that.
It's all right.
Yeah, I don't know that I can do it that fast. Okay.
As fast as you can.
Okay.
You know what I'm
I
saying?
might still be searching for
That's fine,
words.
that's
I think
fine,
maybe
that's
the
fine.
problem. Okay. I left no ring with her. What means this lady? Fortune forbid my outside have charmed her. She made good view of me, indeed so much that sure methought her eye had lost her tongue, for she did speak in starch, distracted. She loves me, sure. The
Good. Start at the beginning, go again.
Thank you.
Yep.
I left no ring with her. What means this lady? Fortune forbid my outside have charmed her. She made good view of me, indeed so much that sure methought her eye had lost her tongue, for she did speak in starch, distracted. She loves me, sure. The cunning of her passion invites me in this churlish messenger. None of my lord's ring, for he left none with her. I am the man.
Good. Stop there. All right, let's hear some of yours.
There even is,
Nope, you're good.
there even himself is force that croaks the fatal entrance of Duncan under my battlements. Calm you spirits that tend all on fatal thoughts, unsex me here, and feel me from my crown to the toes, doubtful of direst cruelty. Make thick my blood. Sorry.
Good. No, that's good. Start at the beginning. Start again, please.
The raven himself is force that croaks the fatal entrance of Duncan under my battlements. You calm you spirits that tend off fatal thoughts, unsex me here, and feel me from my crown to the toes, doubtful of the direst cruelty.
Good. Excellent.
Make
Good. Chuck?
my blood.
Could you much wonder that one man, seeing how much another man is a fool when he dedicates his behaviors to love, will, after he have laughed at such shallow follies in others, become the argument of his own scorn by falling in love? And such a man is Claudio. I have known when there was no music with him but the drum and the fife, and now had he rather hear the tabor and the pipe. I have known when he would have walked 10 miles afoot to see a good armor, and now will he lie 10 nights awake carving the fashion of a new doublet. He was wont to speak plain and to the purpose like an honest man and a soldier. Now he's turned orthography. His words are a very fantastical banquet, just so many strange dishes. Shall I be so converted and see with these eyes? I cannot tell. I think not. I will not be sworn, but love may transform me to an oyster. But I'll place my oath on it, till he hath made an oyster of me, he shall not make me such a fool. One woman is fair, and I am well. Another wise, and I am well. Another virtuous, and I am well. But till all graces be in one woman shall not come in my grace. Rich she shall be, that's certain, and wise, or I'll none, and virtuous, or I'll never cheapen her, fair, or I'll never look on her.
Good, it's good. That's terrific, Chuck. Good start on that. Owen?
As fast as we can do it.
As fast as you can do it.
Sweet moon, I thank thee for thy sunny beams. I thank thee, moon, for shining now so bright. For by thy gracious golden glittering gleams, I trust to take of truest busy sight. But stay, oh spite, but mark, poor night, what dreadful dole is here? Eyes do you see? Oh, how can it be? Oh, dainty duck, oh dear, thy mantle good. What? Stained with blood? Oh, wherefore nature didst thou lie in strength, since lion vile hath here deflowered my dear, which is, no, which was the fairest dame that lived, that liked, that loved, that looked with cheer. Come, tears, confound, outsword and wound the pap of Pyramus. I, the left pap, where heart doth hop. Thus die I, thus. Now I am dead, now I am fled. My soul's in the sky, tongue lose thy life, moon take thy flight, now die.
Lovely. That's good. Stephen?
Not my do it, Pat. Now he is praying, and now I'll do it. And so he goes to heaven, and so am I revenged. That would be scant. A villain kills my father, and for that, I, his sole son, do this same villain send to heaven. And then am I revenged to take him in the purging of his soul when he is fit and seasoned for his passage. No, upsword, and know thou more forward him, when he is drunk asleep or in his rage or in the incestuous pleasure of his blade. Then tripping that his heels may kick at heaven, and that his soul may be as damned and black as the hell and where it goes. My mother stays. This physic but prolongs thy sickly days.
Good.
She should have died hereafter. There would have been time for such a word. Tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow creeps in its petty pace from day to day to the last syllable of recorded time. And all our yesterdays of lighted fools away to dusty death. Out, brief candle. Life is but a walking shadow, a foreplayer that struts and frets his hour upon the stage and then is heard no more. It is a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing.
Oh, that this too solid flesh would melt, thaw, and resolve itself into a dewer, that the everlasting had not fixed his canon, get self-slaughter. Oh God, how weary, stale, flat, and unprofitable seems to me all the uses of this world, fie unto fie. 'Tis an unweeded garden that grows to seed, things rank and gross in nature possess it merely, that it should come to this, but 2 months dead, nay, not so much, not 2. So excellent a king that was to this Hyperion to a satyr, so loving to my mother, that he might not beteem the winds of heaven visit her face too roughly. Heaven and earth must I remember why she would hang on him, as if increase of appetite had grown by what it fed on. And yet within a month, let me not think on it, frailty thy name is woman. A little month ere those shoes were old with which she followed my poor father's body like Niobe, all tears, why she, oh God, a beast that once discourse of reason would have married, more longer. Married with my uncle, my father's brother, but no more like my father than I to Hercules. Within a month ere yet the salt of most unrighteous tears had left the flushing of her galled eyes, she married. O most wicked speed to post with such dexterity to incestuous sheets. It is not, nor it cannot come to good, but break my heart, for I must hold my tongue.
Very good. Good.
How all occasions do inform against me and spur my dull revenge. What is a man if his chief good and market of his time be to sleep and feed, a beast no more? Sure, he that made us with such large discourse looking before and after gave us not that capability and godlike reason to fuss in us unused. Now whether it be bestial oblivion or some craven scruple of thinking too precisely on the event, a thought which quartered hath but 1 part wisdom and ever 3 parts coward. I do not know why yet I live to say these things to do, sith I have cause and will and strength and means to do it. Examples gross as earth exhort me. Witness this army of such mass and charge, led by a delicate and tender prince, whose spirit with divine ambition puffed makes mouths at the invisible event, exposing what is mortal and unsure to all that fortune, death, and danger dare, even for an eggshell.
Good. Terrific. Okay. So, what is this about? This is about dexterity. There's a lot of word language going on here. There's a lot of consonants that are being used, and I don't know about you, but Shakespeare is hard enough to follow without someone mumbling through it. So we got to get our mouths moving around the language, right? We've got to get our lips, our hard palate, our soft palate. We've got to work with energy, vocal energy, lifting our voice. Then we have to do things like look for operative words and things that are going to help us carry the meaning of the words, right? Shakespeare does us a wonderful favor. He never says something just once. He says it numerous times. He knows that he's creating this wordplay. And he knows that he has people in his audience, some of them very educated and some of them not educated at all. But miraculously, they all follow the story. I remember taking my wife to see a production of As You Like It. She'd not seen any Shakespeare before that she could remember. She was like, really didn't want to go see it, but I'm like, you know what, this is the Royal Shakespeare Company. This will be great. You'll enjoy it. It'll be fine. And as soon as it started, she said, no, I'm not going to get this. I don't like this. I said, just close your eyes and listen to it. You'll follow it, trust me. And within 20 minutes, she was like, oh, I think I know what's going on. I said, of course you do. He was a great playwright for that reason. But we've got to get our mouths around it. So it's just a little bit of a warm-up. Don't read too much into it yet. Okay? Cool. Now what I'd like you to do, and I think this might help some of you in your concentration, and I know we're on camera here, but I'll stay and smile for the camera. Find yourself a private space. Go off to a corner, okay? Or go up into the chairs, or sit down, or lay down, whatever's comfortable for you. And I want you to go through the speech. And as you work through the speech, okay, I want you just to take notice of what I'm calling operative words. Oh, that this too solid. Solid. Or is it sullied? I don't know, because they have different versions of it, right? Which one is it? You decide. But whatever it is, it's an important word. It's an important descriptor. Oh, that this too sullied flesh would melt, thaw, and resolve itself into a dew. What the heck? What is that? Pay attention to your words. Just kind of notice the words that jump out at you. You only need to think of 3 or 4 of them. Bottom, you got a whole different deal going on here. We'll talk about that in a second, though. And I do think that this speed through points out to something that I think could be really cool if you were working on that part. But we'll talk about that later. Okay? So, again, out loud, not to yourself, I want you to say the words. Ready? Set? Go.
Now, my I'm so
God, how weird the scale of light and the properties.
the villain kills my father.
2 months so fix my key. So loving my mother and not to see that in the heavens. Having no desire for me. Why she
So point something out. We're not performing right now. We are playing with color, we're playing with texture, we're finding related meanings of words, we're asking ourselves, what does that really mean? Why does he use those consonants there? Why is he using various parts of speech? Just lots of questioning and just playing around. So I find, for instance, when I'm doing this kind of preparation work, I'll repeat lines several times. When I would pray and think and pray on several subjects. Heaven hath my empty words. When I would pray and think, I think and pray on several subjects. When I would pray and think, I think and pray on several subjects. Heaven hath my empty words. Heaven hath my empty words. Whilst my heart, hearing not my head, anchors on anchors on Isabel. Ooh, that Z in the end of anchors. Anchors on Isabel. Heaven in my mouth, heaven in my mouth, heaven in my mouth. Why is heaven in my mouth? It's like a communion wafer. Heaven in my mouth, as if I did but only chew his name. You can't chew on a communion wafer. Shows disrespect. None said you shouldn't use that. All of a sudden now I'm adding to that thought personal memories I have that help me to personalize what the character's doing. Oh, that this too solid flesh would melt like butter, melt like an ice cube, melt. Oh, that this too solid flesh would melt. Thaw, there's the ice cube again, cold, something frozen. Thaw and resolve itself, end up as resolve itself into a dew. What happens to dew in the morning? It's on the grass, but it goes away because why? It evaporates, it dissipates, it's gone. It's not suicide. He doesn't want to die, he wants to disappear. Oh, that this he's fed up with it. Oh, that this too solid flesh would melt, thaw, and resolve itself into a dew. Or that the everlasting, oh God, or that the everlasting had not fixed his canon against self-slaughter. Damn it, I can't kill myself. It's against the law. That's what we do with this. Because I can sense in some of you going, why am I just repeating this over and over again? Yeah, we're warming up our mouths, but we're beginning the creative process, right? We're exploring the text verbally, out loud. The raven himself is hoarse tonight, a raven. Why a raven? It's symbolic of darkness. It's symbolic of an ancient world. It's symbolic of Viking lore. There's knowledge to it. Those dark black eyes. The raven himself is hoarse. He's afraid. The raven himself is hoarse tonight. That croaks the fatal entrance of Duncan. Duncan is the king. Duncan under my battlements. Not your husband's, yours. Oh, wow, that's kind of cool, right? It's a power grab here, right? Okay? So, I want to try this again, please, giving you just a brief demonstration of what I'm looking for. Work through the text, bounce on it, bounce off of it, play with it, explore it, play with the words. Play with the consonants that surround it, the Z's, the V's, the K's, the T's, the P's. Notice when they repeat. Notice when we echo ideas, right? The king, he is hunting the deer. I am coursing myself. They have pitched a toil, and I'm toiling in a pitch. A pitch that defiles. Defile. Foul word. Well, set thee down, sorrow. So you start playing with that a little bit, right? To no effect, just to get your mouths around it and to kind of wake up your creativity. Okay, one more time. Here we go. Good. Come on back. So, let's start. Who would like to be the first up?
Just to do the monologue?
You, come on.
Oh, I thought you were going.
Oh, I was going in a circle, sorry.
Come on, Owen. Sure. Why not?
In a
Everyone
circle
else,
in
come
the
on out
city?
here.
Okay.
So, this is Midsummer Night's Dream. This is Bottom, and he is in the play within the play.
Yeah, I didn't know if it was actually a super good soliloquy for this workshop, but it's just the one I happen to know of.
No, I think look, we're gonna have. There are a number of people here that have soliloquy, so I can dig into that, and maybe it's just as well that we begin with you, because I think that there's some fun stuff in this piece. As I was listening to it, I was reminded of a Bottom that I saw that the actor was so clever with the language. He played with that, those consonants so much. And he's, Bottom is well, let me ask you, what are the given circumstances here? What are the things that we know are going on for this character at this moment of the play?
Well, so you know that he is, right, very excited to be performing this play, probably overacting it a little bit. There's that implication, right, that they're all not very good at what they're doing. So there's this sort of grandioseness, and I think that he has to clearly be really enjoying himself and think that he's doing a phenomenal job,
right,
with this language. So I do think that's where you get in with, because there's all the different like alliterative consonants throughout the speech, and it's all. I mean, I always thought of that as kind of Shakespeare parodying himself.
It's a big deal for him, though, too. I mean, he's acting for the Duke on his wedding night, right? I mean, there's other people there, and he may or may not know their importance, but the Duke is certainly someone that he knows who's there. Okay, and so we have this play within a play thing. So not only is Bottom one of the mechanicals here that have gotten together with his group of friends and performed this play, much the way that you would with Alchemy, or I would with my students at Marshall, or Huntington Outdoor Theater, whatever. We understand what that world is, that kind of community theater in the truest sense of the word term. But what is this play that they're doing?
Pyramus and Thisbe?
Yes, well, tell me about that.
So it's basically an older version of Romeo and Juliet, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's a tragedy, right? These two lovers meet, they can't be together, they devise a way to get together, and then they both wind up dying as a result of it. Yeah, so it's tragic. So
through misunderstanding too, right? Because he thinks he's dead. It's
absolutely right. Okay, so let's start the piece, please, and I'll stop you as we go and perhaps ask some questions. Okay?
Sweet moon, I thank thee for thy sunny beams. I thank thee, moon, for shining now so bright, for by thy gracious golden glittering gleams I trust to take of truest this be sight. But stay, oh spite.
Good. So I love that moment of "but stay," right? Because I saw that lovely sense of the moon going away. So don't be afraid. This is just a general note in Shakespeare. We can pause on any hard punctuation. And what do I mean by hard punctuation? Periods, exclamation points, colons. You can stop. So you can be going, great moon, this is so wonderful. And, oh God, don't, you know what I mean? I think it wants that pause there. So go ahead and play that. Okay. Let's try that.
Sweet moon, I thank thee for thy sunny beams. I thank thee, moon, for shining now so bright, for by thy gracious golden glittering gleams I trust to take of truest Thisbe sight.
Where is Thisbe? Where is she?
I'm waiting for her.
You're waiting for her, but where do you think she's coming from?
that way.
Yes, sure, why not? Yes. And so maybe that when you talk about seeing her sight, that is where it's coming from. I like that sense of kind of demonstrating through gesture almost everything. It's a very, it's a humorous quality, but it also reflective of his lack of professionalism, right? He feels like he's got to, you call me chief, to make sure that everybody understands what's being said. I think lean into that a little bit more. I like that little gesture we're making for the G's, kind of plays that nicely. I think maybe perhaps, well, what happens if your excitement and your praise and your adoration of the moon kicks up a level or two?
Sure.
Yeah, make it that much more important to you, personal. Such a great thing.
Sweet moon, I thank thee for thy sunny beams. I thank thee, moon, for shining now so bright, for by thy gracious, golden, glittering gleams, I trust to take of truest this be sight.
Lovely.
But stay!
Oh, great moment. So I love that gesturing for her like she's going to be there, and then you turn to, where'd you go? Right? Lean into that a little bit more. I think that's a really funny moment there.
Sweet moon, I thank thee for thy sunny beams. I thank thee, moon, for shining now so bright, for by thy gracious, golden, glittering gleams, I trust to take of truest this be sight. But stay, oh spite! But mark, poor night, eyes, do you see? Oh, how can it be, oh dainty duck, oh dear, thy mantle good? What? Stained with blood? Oh, wherefore, nature, didst thou lions frame, since lion vile hath here deflowered my dear, which is? No, which was the fairest dame that lived, that liked, that loved, that looked with cheer. Come, tears! Confound. Out sword and wound.
Good. Couple of things. Good stuff. Out swords and wound?
Oh, out sword and wound the
Well,
paddle.
look, this is hardly original. Shakespeare has these rhymes that don't sometimes rhyme, and sometimes the reason for that is their dialect in the Elizabethan world was a little bit different than we anticipated, and so sometimes it's closer. But for our audience today, I think it might be fitting for Bottom to, because you're rhyming. Wound, there's a preceding line.
Out sword and wound. Out.
Yeah.
Confound.
Oh.
Confound, yes.
Confound.
You're playing with the alternating rhyme here, right? Out swords and wound. Wow. I don't know. There's a moment
like
there. Yeah.
Confound. Out sword
Back
and
it up a
wound.
little bit further, actually, so we get the confound line in there.
Okay. The fairest dame that lived, that liked, that loved, that looked with cheer. Come, tears! Confound. Out sword and wound. Wound the pap of Pyramus.
Good. I love that. That lived, that laughed, that loved, that lost, the L's. Let's see if we can find something that's just as enjoyable as your G's. And I love this notion of him trying to force tears. What happens, and we're going to have to go back to do this, but what happens if he's actually trying to cry tears? as opposed to forcing them. Does that make sense to
Yeah,
you? You know, like, don't be afraid to take the moment. You got a chair there. Maybe he wants to sit down and cry. You know, and then maybe it builds to trying to push them out. I don't know. I'd love to see a little bit more of that because I love where that's going.
Let's back it up to, I'll do, but stay! Oh, spite! But Mark, poor knight, what dreadful dole is here? Eyes, do you see? Oh, how can it be? Oh, dainty duck, oh dear, thy mantle good! What? Stained with blood? Oh, wherefore, nature, didst thou lion's frame, since lion, vile, hath here deflowered, my dear, which is... No, which was the fairest dame that lived, that liked, that loved, that looked with cheer. Come, tears!
I love it. Yeah, he just happens to have Visine in his schmata, right, that he pulls out straight in each eye. Sure, I love that. That's great. I love that. Continue.
Come, tears!
Now show us.
Confound, outsword, and wound, wound the pap of Pyramus. Oh! I, the left pap. Ah, where heart doth hop. Thus die I. Thus. 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 Now I am dead. Now I am fled. My soul is in the sky. Tongue, lose thy light. Moon, take thy flight. Now die. Die.
You just broke your watch. Lovely. What happens if on the first section of dying and you're on your back and then you come back from the dead, right? What's your line there thus die, thus.
Now I am dead.
Yes. So what if he becomes a ghost there? So your astral plane body comes out of...
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, let's try that.
Okay. I'll do it. Outsword and wound, wound the pap of Pyramus. I, the left pap, where heart doth hop. Thus die I. Thus. 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 Now I am dead. Now I am fled. My soul is in the sky. Tongue, lose thy light. Moon, take thy flight. Now die. Die. Die.
Lovely. So I'd like to try something. I have an idea. So Chuck and I'm sorry, what was your name again?
Gracie?
Gracie. I'd like you to be in the scene for me. So we'll keep this chair here, and we'll put another chair here. I know you're going to have to do your ticketing all over again. So Chuck, if you guys could sit there. So you're Hippolytus and Theseus, okay? And there are other people here as well, but I just want you to have two people to kind of play off of. And as I said, he's very, very important. You know, you're getting a chance to perform for, you know, whatever dignitary you think would motivate you. And so some of these asides, some of these things that you're saying, like for instance, you know, now I'm dead, or you know, the left pap, you know, whatever, just play around with it. places that you can kind of share with them and find some motivation. You're hamming it up for them.
Okay.
Okay?
Sweet moon, I thank thee for thy sunny beams. I thank thee, moon, for shining now so bright, for by thy gracious, golden, glittering gleams, I trust to take of truest Thisbe sight. But stay! Oh, spite! But mark, poor night, what dreadful dole is here? Eyes, do you see? Oh, how can it be? Oh, dainty duck, oh dear, thy mantle good! What? Stained with blood. Oh, wherefore, nature, didst thou lion's frame, since lion vile hath here deflowered my dear, which is? No, which was the fairest dame that lived, that liked, that loved, that looked with cheer. Come, tears! Confound, outsword, and wound, wound the pap of Pyramus. Ah! Oh, I, the left pap, ah! Where heart doth hop, thus die I. Thus, thus, thus. Now I am dead. Now I am fled.
Good.
My soul.
Good. Try something for me. Lie down dead. Right. So you just died. The two of you applaud. Right? And then what happens? Now so that you'll interrupt their applause. It's not done yet.
Yeah.
We've got more. Yeah. Okay.
Thus. Now I am dead. Now I am fled. My soul is in the sky. Tongue, lose thy light. Moon, take thy flight. Now die, die, die.
No, it's okay to applaud. Good, good. Very nice, very nice, very nice. And just by having Theseus and Hippolyta and, of course, Demetrius and the gang all on stage, then we've got actually two audiences to play with, don't we? We have the audience out here, and then we have our audience on stage as well. So Bottom really has this opportunity to really kind of play the whole theater in very different ways. It's kind of fun. You're very, well, this is not surprising. You're a lawyer by trade, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, and are you a lawyer that goes to court and talks to?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so your verbal skills are very clear. You're very articulate. One thing I would play around with is the tempos in which we're speaking. I was thinking the last time you went through that Love the Day, you might want to pick the pace up on that one. That he's so facile with his language that he kind of does it almost like a tongue twister. That might be kind of fun there because everything else has been kind of regular. So we want to find some variety in the way that we're speaking. I find those of you who direct, I'm very sensitive to kind of the regularity of people's speech, and sometimes we can just stop listening because we expect the words to come at a certain cadence. So we want to find ways of varying that, I think is helpful. Really terrific, lovely, lovely. Thank you so much. Okay, who's playing next? Okay, I guess I'll go home. Go ahead, Chuck. Yep, please do. So, let's talk for a minute. This is fairly early in the play. Those of you not familiar, this is Benedict in Much Ado About Nothing. Benedict, let's talk about some of the given circumstances that we know about him.
Yeah, he's just come to this town for a little vacation after a campaign with his company of soldiers. And the moment they get there, his best friend Claudius falls in love at first sight with some chick, and they decide that they're going to get married after some silly mistaken identity stuff. And then there's this woman there that Benedict has this kind of frenemy style history with. They clearly have this kind of like electric antagonistic chemistry, but Benedict has sworn off marriage and love, but now his best friend is just has just kind of and sort of another one bites the dust, so to speak, as he's gone off to get married and just become a brand new man, and Benedict at this moment finds himself wounded and frustrated that this always happens, and that it's obviously so ridiculous, and that he just can't possibly be making these people happy, and they act like lunatics, and why does nobody see it but me, and also, why am I so lonely, and all of that. It's
good. It's good. I want to have you go through the speech first, and then I want to talk a little bit about this notion of truth in a soliloquy. But let's have you go through it first, and just however you've done it. You can just do it standing, or if you've got some movement attached to it, by all means. However you've practiced it. Okay, let's just see that.
I do much wonder that one man, seeing how much another man is a fool when he dedicates his behaviors to love, will, after he hath laughed at such shallow follies in others, become the argument of his own scorn by falling in love. And such a man is Claudio. I have known when there was no music with him, but the drum and the fife. And now, had you rather hear the tabor and the pipe? I have known when he would have walked 10 miles afoot to see a good armor. And now, will he lie 10 nights awake, carving the fashion of a new doublet? He was wont to speak plain and to the purpose, like an honest man and a soldier. And now, he is turned orthography. His words are a very fantastical banquet. Just so many strange dishes. Shall I be so converted and see with these eyes? I cannot tell. I think not. I will not be sworn, but love may transform me to an oyster. But I'll take my oath on it. Till he have made an oyster of me, he shall never make me such a fool. One woman is fair, and I am well. Another wise, and I am well. Another virtuous, and I am well. Yet, till all graces come in one woman shall not come in my grace. Rich she shall be, that's certain. And wise, or I'll none. And virtuous, or I'll never cheapen her. Fair, I'll never look on her. out, or come not near me. Noble are not I for an angel, of good discourse, an excellent musician. And her hair shall be... Of what color it please God? Ha! The prince and Monsieur Love. I'll hide me in the arbor.
Good, good. Very nice, Chuck. Very good. So, it is important, I think, that the character who's speaking a soliloquy, because they're by themselves, they are speaking their truth. There's no reason to lie to oneself unless that's what's going on. And I think this is the case with Benedict. He thinks he's being truthful. I don't need women. I've got my war. I got my guys. I do my thing. When I need women, I go to the bar. I have a few drinks. I find a cute girl. I'm a good-looking guy. We do the thing, and then I'm off to the next. That's him. He's of that mindset. He says something later in the play. I don't know if how familiar you are with the entire play, but he says something in, it's either his next soliloquy, he doesn't have many, but, so I think it is in his next soliloquy. After he has discovered that Beatrice is in love with him, when the guys kind of set him up, he's hiding. It's not too long right after this, right? He's hiding in the trees.
Just that scene, and then and then he comes back.
And the guys go, hey, yeah, she's really in love with him, and he just has to say something, and he gets roped right in, right? And he says this line, and I'm paraphrasing, I don't have it right with me, but he says, when I said I would never marry, I really believe that's true because I never thought I'd live long enough to get married. Yeah. And I think that's I think that's the turning point for him, you know? So I'd like to start it again, and this time I want you to play the audience as if it's a group of people that you're sharing some information about yourself with. Okay? You're sharing in a way that you would share if we were all just kind of hanging out at a party in someone's backyard, and you're telling a story about this friend of yours, Claudio. But there's one thing that I'd like you to add to this. There's a moment when you describe the person that you find attractive, right? When he starts describing that woman. Mm-hmm. It's Beatrice. And although I like very much what you're playing with comedically when you talk about her hair, you know exactly the color of her hair.
So, but I don't want that.
Yeah, it's that moment where you're not going to share that.
Yeah.
You're gonna cover that. Yeah. I think that's a turning point for him as well. I think it's important that when you work, I don't care whether it's Shakespeare or any play, that you're really tracking your character's progression throughout the play. I think it's something that we just think the author takes care of, and he does, or she does, to a certain extent. But I think as actors, we need to be cognizant of those choices. And I think for Benedict, that's a moment of discovery. And her hair is, I'm not telling you that I'll make a joke about it instead, because shit, oh no, crap, son of a bitch. Because I think that's what's happening there. Let's try it.
I do much wonder that one man, seeing how much another man is a fool when he dedicates his behavior to love, will, after he hath laughed at such shallow follies in others, become the argument of his own scorn by falling in love. And such a man is Claudio. I have known when there was no music with him but the drum and the fife. And now, will you rather hear the tabor and the pipe?
What if the tabor and the pipe represent something pastoral, something romantic? It's he's talking about the drum and the fife being kind of percussive and part of elements of war.
Is like romantic and
Yes, it's a Hallmark Christmas movie.
Really
Yeah. He's gonna listen to sad songs and start listening to Taylor Swift. I think you can inflect that in your voice. You can lead us to that in your voice there. Terrific. Somewhere before that.
I have known when there was no music in him, but the drum and the fife. And now, had he rather hear the tabor and the pipe?
Love it.
I have known when he would have walked 10 miles afoot to see a good armor. And now, will he lie 10 nights away, carving the fashion of a new doublet? He was wont to speak plain and to the purpose like an honest man and a soldier. And now he is turned orthography. His words are a very fantastical banquet, just so many strange dishes. Shall I be so converted and see with these eyes? I cannot tell. I think not. I will not be sworn, but love may transform me to an oyster. But I'll take my oath on it. Till he have made an oyster of me, he shall not make me such a fool. One woman is fair, and I am well. Another wise, and I am well. Another virtuous, and I am well.
What's the subtext on I am well?
I dodged them. They didn't get me.
Yeah. So I'm well. I'm still Benedict. I'm still myself. I'm not moved by it. I'm not changed by it. You won't catch me becoming that for a pretty face or a pretty voice or pretty eyes or pretty hair. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I just wanted to be clear on that.
One woman is fair, and I am well. Another wise, and I am well. Another virtuous, and I am well. But till all graces come in one woman shall not come in my grace.
Good. I like that play on words there. I wonder if the last, so it's I am well, I am well, I am well, I am well. And the reason I'm and it's not a line reading per se, Chuck, except that Shakespeare sometimes will use monosyllabic words because he wants you to highlight each one. They all have weight, you know? And it also kind of ends that mantra, that refrain that he's just established. You know, I do this and I'm well. I do this and I am well. I do this, I'm well, and I do this, and everyone say it with me, I am well. Want to try that? I think that might be fun.
One woman is fair, and I am well. Another wise, and I am well. Another is virtuous, and I am well.
Continue.
Yeah, but till all graces come in one woman shall not come in my grace.
Good, love it. Continue.
Rich she shall be, that's certain. And wise, or I'll none. Virtuous, or I'll never cheapen her. Fair, or I'll never look on her. Mild, or come not near me, noble, and not I for an angel, of good discourse, an excellent musician, and her hair shall be of what color it please God.
Good. So I wonder if discourse, because that's what you've had together. You know, as much as she drives you crazy, it's the thing you really like about her. You know, God, she could.
Maybe that's the trigger.
Yeah. So I think that's the first trigger. Well, you know, discourse. Yeah, you got to have that. And then what's after discourse?
An excellent musician.
And an excellent musician, because that one time she played the guitar, and I never knew she played the lute, and I never knew she could. And then her hair. You know, so there's a progression for you to take you there, and then you take us with you. You know, the result being, if directing this scene, I would say, wouldn't it be nice if the audience kind of went, uh-oh, I know who you're talking about. You've already talked about money, right? Fair. That could be a lot of different people. But I'm just saying, set yourself up for it. So let's go back to, we just finished, and I won't have any of that.
I am
Yeah.
well. And then,
Yep.
Rich she shall be, that's certain. And wise, or I'll none. Virtuous, or I'll never cheapen her. Fair, or I'll never look on her. Mild, or come not near me. Noble, and not I for an angel. Of good discourse, an excellent musician. And her hair shall be of what color it please God. The Prince and Monsieur Love. I'll hide me in the arbor.
Yep, great. Terrific, Chuck. Thank you. Very good. Good. Next, hop on up. Nice hopping. Go ahead, Grace.
Okay.
So let's just jump into it, and then we'll go back.
Okay. How all occasions do inform against me and spur my dull revenge. What is a man if his chief good and market of his time be but to sleep and feed? A beast, no more. Sure, he that made us with such large discourse, looking before and after, gave us not that capability, God-like reason to fuss in us, unused. Now, whether it be bestial oblivion, or some craven scruple of thinking too precisely on the event, a thought which quartered hath but 1 part wisdom and ever 3 parts coward. I do not know why yet I live, to say this thing's to do. Sith, I have cause and will and strength and means to do it. Examples gross as earth exhort me. Witness this army of such mass and charge, led by a delicate and tender prince, whose spirit with divine ambition puffed, makes mouths at the invisible event, exposing what is mortal and unsure to all that fortune, death, and danger dare, even for an eggshell. Rightly, to be great is not to stir without great argument, but greatly to find quarrel and straw when honor's at the stake. How stand I then, that have a father killed, a mother stained, excitements of my reason and my blood, and let all sleep. While to my shame, I see the imminent death of 20,000 men, that for a fantasy and a trick of fame go to their graves like beds, fight for a plot whereon the numbers cannot try the cause, which is not tomb enough and continent to hide the slain. No. From this time forth, my thoughts be bloody or be nothing worth.
Okay, good. Terrific, terrific. Very nice. So we're all familiar with the play. Hamlet is once again wrestling with not being able to understand why people are just so weak and so you can't count on them, including himself. You know? What takes us into this speech? Do you know what happens just moments before the speech happens?
He's being shipped to England and they're on their merry way and they see Fortinbras's army.
Yes. And who has just left the stage?
Rosencrantz and Guildenstern.
And who are Rosencrantz and Guildenstern to you?
Friends who betrayed me, him.
Yeah. And just like so much of the things that we do in acting, we constantly have to remind ourselves, is this notion of raising the stakes, right? Of making it that much more important. And so what I would suggest to you to kind of use as a launch into this speech is that Rosencrantz and Guildenstern aren't just friends. They are trusted friends. You know, they get a bad rap because they're just they're two people in a cast of many, and they're just his two friends. No, they're his childhood friends. They're close. They're invaluable to him. He grew up with them. He loved them. He trusted them. And so I think for you to personalize that to start with, do something that Shakespeare's company didn't have, kind of our awareness of how actors need to motivate themselves. They didn't know about things like, subtext, and they didn't know about objectives and obstacles and actions, and they didn't necessarily know too much about using elements of ourselves to get at something. So I'd like you to consider, for you, Gracie, who Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are, and by choosing two people that perhaps maybe have let you down at some point, who you maybe lost a little respect for, maybe two people or one person that you don't speak to anymore because they've caused you that kind of hurt in your heart. I know many of us have had that. Do you have someone like that calls to mind? I think it's a great place emotionally to start with. Okay. We're going to give you the opportunity to go through all of this. The next thing I want to talk about is, what is he saying with all of these notions of armies and people dying and value and where people are going to be buried and all? Can you paraphrase that a little for me?
I think he's saying it's as good as his fault because he had the choice, the opportunity to end the war before it even started, and now he's on his way out. And his revenge is dull. He's not going anywhere with it, and so he has to get his act together and go back to save the lives of people he doesn't know and the lives of people he does know.
Okay, excellent, excellent. That's exactly right. Then what I would add to that is this. Take me along with you. In an effort to try to make this feel contemporary and real, we're kind of throwing words away. Explain it to me. Explain it to your audience, what it is that you're trying to say. Because there's some heavy-duty things going on, and Shakespeare's giving you a lot of language to do it in, and if we start just kind of running through it, we're not going to get to understanding what it is that you're talking about specifically, okay? Let's start from the top. And take that moment to start with. Find your center before you speak the words, because Rosencrantz and Guildenstern have just left. Okay?
How all occasions do inform against me and spur my dull revenge. What is a man if his chief good and market of his time be but to sleep and feed?
Good. I want to stop you there. I love how you're starting that now. Take your time, though. When you ask that question, what is a man, right? Is that the line?
Mhm.
What is a man? I think you've got all the time in the world. In fact, I think it might be a really lovely time for you to take your focus away from those two lost friends and look to your audience and ask that question of the audience. Subtext being, have you gone through this before? Do you know what I'm feeling right now? Feeling betrayal. I'm feeling lost. And I'm feeling like I have no faith in people right now. I am lost, and I could use some help. Lovely. Start again.
How all occasions do inform against me and spur my dull revenge. What is a man if his chief good and market of his time be but to sleep and feed? A beast. No more? Sure, he that made us with such large discourse, looking before and after, gave us not that capability and godlike reason to fust in us unused. Now, whether it be bestial oblivion or some craven scruple of thinking too precisely on the event.
Good. Craven scruple. You don't even have to know what that means to know that it's not something good. So use it there. Discover the word. Don't know it. Find it. Right? Let's back it up just a little bit. I think when you talk about he, you're talking about God there. Ooh, there's a lovely parallel to what we've been talking about, right? So use God. He, it almost becomes prayer-like, right? I'm sensing that. So go ahead and lean into that a little bit, but then discover that craven scruple. Yeah, find the word.
Okay. A beast. No more. Sure, he that made us with such large discourse, looking before and after, gave us not that capability and godlike reason to fust in us unused. Now, whether it be bestial oblivion or some craven scruple of thinking too precisely on the event, a thought which quartered hath but 1 part wisdom and ever 3 parts coward, I do not know why yet I live to say this thing's to do. Sith, I have cause and will and strength and means to do it. Examples gross as earth exhort me. Witness this army of such mass and charge. led by a delicate and tender prince, whose spirit, with divine ambition puffed, makes mouths of the invisible event, exposing what is mortal and unsure to all that fortune, death, and danger dare, even for an eggshell. Rightly.
Good. So I think when we go into this next section about the army and what it's all about, you're on an arc all the way to eggshell.
Mhm.
You know, you're essentially saying, how does this prince, this leader, like I am, he's your parallel, right? Fortinbras is who you are, only he's in Norway and you're in Denmark, right? And he's sending all of his men into battle, and he's going to give up all of their lives, and what? It's for nothing. It's for an eggshell. You've said this before. It's the exact same notion that he does in the player's speech when he says, and all for what? For Hecuba. What's Hecuba to him, or he to Hecuba that he should weep for her? What would he do if he had the cause that I have? You know, that's where it goes to. Again, he's still wrestling with this. So what I'm suggesting to you is when you go into that segment of the speech, it's different from what has led you to here. It's like once you start talking about Fortinbras, it should almost fill you with energy, fascination, question, wondering, and it should arc by the energy, kind of keep that energy going all the way to eggshell. Don't have to take me quite so carefully at that point.
Okay.
Yeah? So I love the getting down on your knees and praying there. I think that's a terrific moment there. What's missing is how do you get from there to... I can't pray. A different thought. You know, take the time to get me there. But the idea is terrific. Love it, love it, love it. Can we go back just a little bit before we go into the section that I'm talking about?
To
About the armies and the great army that's there and all of that?
yeah.
Because that's the start of it.
I do not know why I.
Yes.
Okay. I do not know why I live to say this things to do. Sith, I have cause and strength and will and means to do it. Examples gross as earth exhort me. Witness this army of such mass and charge, led by a delicate and tender prince.
See, when you and what happens? Let me ask
I
it
did
this
it.
way. Well, saying delicate, you naturally want to make it, but I don't think it is.
Mm-hmm.
This delicate prince who's done this, that, and
Yeah.
everything. And let me try something else for you too. Let's pretend, okay, that Hamlet is in a room, and in the room there's a large screen TV set, long about where that black contraption is right there. And on that large screen TV set is CNN. And CNN has just broadcast the latest moves from Norway and how they're moving into Denmark at this point. Let that motivate you and gesture it there. I want to separate the audience from the army. Technically what I'm trying to do here. Okay? Same place. Go from the same place.
I do not know why yet I live to say this things to do. Sith, I have cause and will and strength and means to do it. Examples gross as earth exhort me. Witness this army of such mass and charge, led by a delicate and tender prince, whose spirit with divine ambition puffed, makes mouths at the invisible event, exposing what is mortal and unsure to all that fortune, death, and danger dare, even for an eggshell. Rightly, to be great.
Great, great. So, and that eggshell is nothing.
Yeah.
It's worthless,
Mhm.
right? And so I think that's the point of your argument here, right? So you got to bring that back to us, and it needs an amen on the end of it.
Okay.
We have to end that moment, and then we'll move on to another.
Okay.
Yeah, really nice. I love your sense of emotional connection to the material. I love what's going on with you that way. It's very, very interesting. I like your work. What do you do? Are you a student?
Yes.
Yeah, where are you studying?
Marshall,
What are you studying?
classics and English.
Classics and English. Why aren't you in acting class? Why aren't you in our
She
plays?
just finished theater appreciation.
Yeah. Basically, I'm a pro.
Yeah. Where'd you do theater? In high school?
Here, Charleston
Here?
Catholic High School
You went
a
to
little
Catholic high school
in Charleston.
in Charleston, yeah. St. Joe's?
Charleston Catholic.
Oh, Charleston Catholic, okay. Did you have a theater there?
A little
A
bit.
little bit?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Got some good stuff going on.
She probably auditioned for you, Jack. You just didn't cast her.
Yeah, I
That's why I'm
did.
here, I'm here on a
It's cool.
recruitment mission. It's all right, classics are okay. They're okay. Okay, come on over, have a seat.
Okay.
Who's next? Hands up. Yeah, let's just jump into it. Let's run through it and then see what I got for you.
Now I might do it, Pat. Now he is praying, and now I'll do it. And so he goes to heaven, and so am I revenged. That would be scant. The villain kills my father, and for that, I, his sole son, do that same villain send to heaven. And then am I revenged? To take him in the purging of his soul when he is fit and seasoned for his passage. No. Upsort. Know thou a more horrid event. When he is drunk, asleep, or in his rage, or in the incestuous pleasure of his bed. Then tremble, that his heels may kick at heaven, that his soul may be as black and damned as the hell into where it goes. My mother stays. This visit but prolongs thy sickly days.
Good, good. So take that chair, please, bring it down stage just a little bit and turn it around. Yeah, great. And so I'm going to have you come in from above,
Okay.
and you're going to imagine that Claudius is on his knees, right, with his back to you. And let me ask you this. His objective is pretty clear here, right? When we first see you, you know, here he is, he's by himself, there's no one here, there's no one to witness it, not that that's part of it.
Right.
Now might I do it, Pat? It's interesting. I've got an Arden edition, which I've always revered as being the best adaptation, and they don't say Pat. They don't say
Really?
Pat. And it's funny because if you've worked on it, which you have, we joked in grad school, we did a Hamlet for the first time, and we were always like, who's Pat? Now might I do it, Pat? You know, Patrick is here with me on stage. No, it's now might I do it, Pat. I may end it, finish it, over, done. When does he have the moment of realizing he's going to screw the whole thing up if he acts too quickly?
Now he goes to heaven.
Yeah,
And so am I revenged.
yeah.
That would be scant.
And so he goes to heaven. I think somewhere in that line, somewhere in that line where he says, and now he goes to heaven is when he hits the brakes. Because Hamlet's quick. He's smart. He's he might be Shakespeare's smartest character. Iago, maybe, I don't know. But Hamlet's smart. He's really bright. And he makes that connection. He goes, oh, wait a second. And again, this goes back to talking about Catholic plays. This is what he's talking about. He's praying. He's confessing. Confession is a Catholic thing. He's confessed his sins, albeit there's no priest. He goes to heaven. All of his sins absolved. Let's try, Stephen, and I know you, did you do the speech in the production?
I did.
So let's see what you did physically.
Okay.
Okay? I'm interested in kind of seeing that. Just go, yeah, you can mime the sword, that's fine.
Good, roll that here.
We'll believe it. Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Do you want me to sit there?
I was gonna say, do you need a Pilates with a neck?
I can imagine Niggly being there tomorrow. Now might do it, Pat. Now is a praying, and now I'll do it. And so he goes to heaven.
Good. Let's try it again. Now, I'm not redirecting the play, but
It's over.
let's add this given circumstance.
Sure.
You can't screw this up.
Correct.
This is murder we're talking about, okay? And I think it was Stella Adler. I think there's a famous story about the famous acting teacher Stella Adler. She was working with an actor playing Macbeth. Yes, I said it in the theater, sorry, but we're going to get to it later. But the actor came in and he did the speech or whatever, and she said, I'm sorry, I just don't believe that you could have murdered someone. And so the next time they had class, she brought in like the side of a beef, with the ribs and everything, brought it in and put it on the stage and handed him a knife and said, stab it. That's the method for you, right? But there is some truth to it. We have this isn't it Shakespeare plays, everybody's killing and stabbing and stuff. The reality of actually killing someone is serious business. King killing. It's wrong on so many different levels. So I say that to you so that you take your time and come in.
Okay.
Let that whole beginning part take you to him without rushing it,
Okay.
and then it'll be cleaner for you.
Okay.
I think it'll make more sense.
Yep. Now I might do it, Pat. Now he is praying. And now I will too. So he goes to heaven, and so am I. That would be scandal.
Good. So now might I do it, Pat? 1, 2, 3, 4. It's all monosyllabic. Let each one have importance.
Okay.
Now might I do it, Pat?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank
Take your time. Make sure no one's watching, too.
Now, might I do it, Pat? Now he is a praying. Now I'll do it. So he goes to heaven. And so am I revenged. That would be scandal.
Yeah, so what happens when, I just had an image, what happens when you almost do something that would lead to just dire consequences? You back away from it, right? It's like, oh shit, I almost,
Yeah.
and let that take you back,
Sure.
right? Better on that. Where are you going to stab him? In the neck?
I was going to cut his throat.
You're going to cut his throat?
Mm-hmm.
Would you grab his head first? Would you go to grab his head first to pull his head back?
I've never slit a throat, but
I know, but
probably.
interesting to think about though, right? You know, because he's down there like this, right? And the last thing you want to do is stab him in the chin,
For sure.
because that's just going to piss him off.
Right.
So you got to pull his head back.
Got it.
Yeah, maybe that's the gesture.
Okay.
And so he goes to heaven.
Yes, got it. Now, I might do it pat. Now he is a praying, and now I'll do it. And so he goes to heaven. So my revenge. That would be scant. The villain kills my father, and for that, I, his sole son, do that same villain send to heaven. And then am I revenged to take him in the purging of his soul when he is fit and seasoned for his passage. No. Upsword. And know thou more horrid than when he is drunk, asleep.
Good. So, and when you say upsword,
Mm-hmm.
I believe it's a short line.
It is.
There, right? Upsword.
That's it.
So 2 syllables, you get 8 to play with.
Okay.
We're on to a whole different thing,
Mm-hmm.
okay? And I think that whole new thing that we're going to go into is how this is going to be so much better if you wait.
Right.
I'm not going to do this. I'm going to do this well. I'm not just killing him, I'm sending him to hell.
Right.
2 very different things.
Right.
So use those 8 blanks to go to a different place,
Okay.
okay? And in fact, use your audience. Use your audience there,
Okay.
okay? Okay, let's take it back to, and so I send his soul to heaven, or whatever the line is.
Fitness. And so he goes to heaven.
And so he goes to heaven, yeah.
So he goes to heaven.
Back
So
up.
who am I revenged? I would be scant. The villain kills my father, and for that I, his sole son, to the same villain send to heaven. And then am I revenged to take him in the purging of his soul when he is fit and seasoned for his passage. No. Upsword.
Put it away.
And know thou more horrid him when he is drunk, asleep, or in his rage, or in the incestuous pleasure of his bed. Then trip him, that his heels may kick at heaven, and his soul may be as damned and black as the hell unto where it goes. My mother stays. This visit but prolongs thy sickly days.
Yeah, I like that tag on the end. Are you familiar with the painting of the Last Judgment in the Sistine Chapel?
No.
So there's a painting. It's on the ceiling, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And I was always fascinated by it as a kid because it shows, you know, what what the world would look like in a very Renaissance way, what the world would look like at the end of time. And there's a clear delineation between hell, earth, and heaven, okay?
Okay.
And there's this one demon in the bottom that's pulling down the last soul. I think it's called like the last soul or something. Anyway, he's pulling down to hell this last soul. And he's dragging him to hell, right? Great movie, right? And I think that I just am inspired by that in this moment of Hamlet's waiting to take Claudius out so that that happens. It's such a powerful notion. I'd like you to start it again, please. We're going to just go through it once, all the way through.
Okay.
Start from the beginning, Stephen. And this time, if you could include your entrance and now might I do it, Pat, and all of that with the audience. Share it with the audience a little bit more. You're letting us know that,
They're watching.
but also I'm going to achieve my goal.
Okay, gotcha.
Right?
Mhm.
All of this has been Sturm und Drang until now, and this is the opportunity, and I'm ready to do it. And then psych, I'm not.
Now, might I do it? Now he is a prey, and now I'll do it. And so he goes to heaven. And so my revenge. That would be scandal. A villain kills my father, and I, his sole son, do this same villain send to heaven. Am I then revenged to take him in the purging of his soul when he is fit and seasoned for his passage? No. Upsword. Know thou a more hoard him. When he is drunk, asleep, or in his rage, or in the incestuous pleasure of his bed. Then tremble, that his heels may kick at heaven. His soul may be as damned and black as the hell unto where it goes. My mother said, this physic but prolongs thy seclusion.
Thank you. Who next? Come on down. Good.
I've seen that. I knew I'd seen that.
Hamlet. Yeah. In my way.
So, let's talk a little bit about where Hamlet is in the beginning of the speech.
Yeah.
Right? We're very early in the piece, right? We haven't had too much to say up until this point. And so, the whole court is here. Claudius, Gertrude, Horatio, Ophelia, Polonius, but all the court as well. And Claudius kind of throws the attention on you, by saying, Hamlet, I've been thinking about it. I don't want you to go back to school. You need to stay here with us. We love you. We need you. We want to make sure you're good, And you are then left. It's like, are you good? We good? Yeah, Dad, we're good. Great, we're good. Okay, they all leave, and you are by yourself in this space where the king has been talking. It could be the throne room, but it should be something that represents the space where kingly things are being done. So let's do something. Let's grab a chair, put it in the middle, upstage, right? So we have a point of reference.
Brother?
Yeah, sure. And let's bring you down, so put the chair upstage, you downstage.
Exactly how it was.
Yeah. Is it?
Yeah.
Lovely. Good.
Well, yeah, depending on where we put stuff.
But that chair represents Dad, it represents Denmark, it represents your future, it represents everything. Everything. And just like in Game of Thrones, whoever's sitting in the chair is has the power. Okay? And I think you have a love-hate relationship with that power. Okay? Let's just let that steep a little bit, and let's just go ahead and go through the speech. Okay?
Missy Elliott, flip it and reverse it. Because
Don't worry about doing what you did before. If you wind up doing that, that's fine. Just go through it.
Oh, that this too solid flesh would melt, thaw, and resolve itself into a dew, or that the everlasting had not fixed its canon against self-slaughter. Oh God, God, how weary, stale, flat, and unprofitable seems to me all the uses of this world. Define on it, define! 'Tis an unweeded garden that grows to seed. Things rank and gross in nature possess it merely. That it should come to this, but 2 months dead? Nay, not so much, not 2. So excellent a king that was to this Hyperion to a satyr, so loving to my mother that he might not beteem the winds of heaven visit her face too roughly. Heaven and earth must I remember? Why, she would hang on him as if increase of appetite had grown by what it fed on. And yet within a month let me not think on it, frailty thy name is woman. A little month ere those shoes were old with which she followed my poor father's body like Niobe all tears. Why she, even she, oh God, a beast that once discourse of reason would have mourned longer. Married with my uncle, my father's brother, but no more like my father than I to Hercules. Within a month, ere yet the salt of most unrighteous tears had left the flushing of her galled eyes, she married. Oh, most wicked speed to post with such dexterity to incestuous sheets. It is not, nor it cannot come to good, but break my heart, for I must hold my tongue.
Good. So, no question, Hamlet is angry.
Yeah.
But he ends the speech by saying, but break my heart, I must hold my tongue, which is different than anger, isn't it?
Sorrow.
Break my heart.
Yeah.
It's intense sadness.
Yeah.
You know? So what I'd like to do with this, first of all,
I drink
again,
entirely too much soda. And
No,
I'm
you're
down
good.
belch really
You're so
bad
good.
right now.
You're so good. No.
I'm choking.
But what I'd
Please
like to
don't
do, and this is hard to do when you've done a production and you've staged it and you've worked
Yeah,
on it the
it's
same
so-
way, it's kind
yeah.
of hard to break those habits. But I'd like you to try though. Don't worry about us, okay? To me, this speech is a prayer. It is talking to God. It is looking for divine intervention, because ain't nobody here that I'm friends with, that I know, is going to fix this problem for me. They're all bowing to him and working for him and hanging with him and
Right.
supporting him, and they just don't know. You know, they've forgotten about your dad and who he was, including your mother. It's a lot. It's a lot. And I think this piece needs to begin with, this kind of speaks to you. I think it begins with kind of a quiet, introspective, simmering. You know, if you're going to have it musically, it should be just, he's just simmering. This too solid flesh melt, fall. And it's all about that chair. So do me a favor, go ahead and just sit down on the floor there. You okay with that?
Yeah,
Okay?
it's my favorite place to be.
Is it?
No.
No, it's not?
I just always end up in the floor.
Yeah. And turn and face that chair a little bit, if you would. Good. And begin to kind of ask yourself these questions about why me? Why am I stuck? Have you ever had that feeling before, right? Are you feeling a bit sorry for yourself? Yeah? But it's all directed there. All that's good, all that is bad is coming from that chair. And let's see where that begins to take us. And know that until we get to, oh God, a beast that wants discourse of reason would have mourned longer. I think that's the climax of the piece. I think that's the arc of the piece. Yeah? So we don't want to get there too soon. Let that simmer build to a boil. Let that boil begin to shake the lid. Let that lid begin to kind of go, take the lid off and the whole thing goes to hell. That's where we go to. Okay, so if we're kind of just arcing our direction on this. See what happens.
Am I living in the floor the whole time?
No, there are no rules here. I just gave you the rules. You start there. I don't know where you're going to end up. Wherever you feel like going.
Trying to get up off this floor.
Yeah.
That's what I'm scared of.
Fine, then crawl.
It's gonna get really big.
Yeah, do what you can do.
Yeah. Oh, that this too solid flesh would melt, thaw, and resolve itself into a dew. Or that the everlasting had not fixed his cannon against self-slaughter.
Good, good. I got an idea. So before you even start, everyone's left. The door closes. You've been holding this anger, frustration, sadness in. Oh, I mean, I think it comes out of this. There are no answers for you right now. This whole play is about him finding his way through what this is. Let it take you back to the floor, roll around, cry, sit up, laugh, whatever works for you. But don't feel like you've got to go right into, oh, that is too solid flesh. Because what he's saying is, I just don't freaking want to be here. I don't want to live this way. I don't want to be with these people. Can I just disappear? Make sense? Yeah? It's a lot, I know, but you picked it. And for my money,
It's the only thing I have in my brain.
this is the speech. This is the hard one. Because you got to lay the train on the tracks in this speech. Yep, that's great.
Oh, that this too solid flesh would melt, thaw, and resolve itself into a dew. Or that the everlasting had not fixed his cannon against self-slaughter. Oh God, God! How weary, stale, flat, and unprofitable seems to me all the uses of this world. Fie on it, fie! 'Tis an unweeded garden that grows to seed. Things rank and gross in nature possess it merely, that it should come to this, but 2 months dead?
Keep on the chair.
Nay, not so much. Not to so excellent a king that was to this Hyperion to a satyr.
Good, good. So excellent a king that was to this. It's always drawing comparisons, right? There's Dad, there's Claudius. You know, there's Hyperion, and there's the satyr. Yeah. I love how this is starting now. You know, I still see you kind of holding on to some of the old
Yeah.
vestiges of what you did. That's fine. That's totally fine. But I think you're moving in the right direction with this. How weary, stale, flat, and unprofitable. Those are all descriptors that basically say the same thing. He is so depressed that nothing, man delights not me. I mean, the poor guy needs to be on medication, right? Just nothing is making him happy. He's exhausted. He just wants to lie in the armchair with the remote and stare at, Spanish television all day. Nothing is turning him on. Yeah? Okay. That it should come to this. Let's take it from there.
That it should come to this, but 2 months dead? Nay, not so much, not two. So excellent a king that was to this Hyperion to a satyr.
Yeah, so I think as he's talking about how great Dad was, that might be a great time to get you up, because it's all about the throne. Dad was on this throne. He was amazing.
Yeah.
His ability with people, what he did for this country, all of that, it becomes so important. I'm sorry, I'm screwing your microphone up again. Sorry, people in TV land. I'm trying to get it to work. It's Todd's fault. Okay.
Team Todd.
Okay. Good. Okay. So yeah, let that take you that way.
Okay. That it should come to this, but 2 months dead? Nay, not so much, not two. So excellent a king that was to this Hyperion to a satyr. So loving to my mother that he might not beteem the winds of heaven visit her face too roughly. Heaven and earth must I remember. Why, she would hang on him as if increase of appetite had grown by what it fed on, and yet within a month, let me not think on it, frailty thy name is woman. A little month ere those shoes were old with which she followed my poor father's body like
I love
Niobe.
that line of, and yet within a little month, that little, the fact that he uses little there is so fascinating to me because it's so contemporary. It feels so contemporary to me. And yet within a month, a little month. How? How?
How?
Yeah, yeah. And again, go to the chair, use the chair, remember Dad in the chair, embrace the chair. Know that Mom was sitting next to him. You've got that space next to the chair where Mom used to sit. Yes, of course, Claudius is in that chair now, but he wasn't there before. Maybe he was over there. I don't know. But continue to use it. Frailty thy name is woman.
Frailty thy name is woman. A little month ere those shoes were old with which she followed my poor father's body like Niobe, all tears. Why she, even she, oh God, a beast that once discourse of reason would have mourned longer. Married with my uncle, my father's brother, but no more like my father than I to Hercules. Within a month, ere yet the salt of most unrighteous
Yeah, so
tears.
I would take the pause after no more like my father than I to Hercules, because how many times do we say within a month,
Right, it's just like weird.
right?
Yeah.
And so it's almost like there's nothing else to say.
Right.
Yeah. You got these chairs that are sitting there. Go ahead and use it if you want. After you frailty, no more like my father than I to Hercules. God damn it, sit down.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know where to start.
Yeah, take it back like Niobe, all tears.
Why she, even she, oh God, a beast that once discourse of reason would have mourned longer. Married with my uncle, my father's brother, but no more like my father than I to Hercules. Within a month.
Yeah, you could wait even longer. It would play even longer. You know, we cannot be afraid to take the pauses. As long as you're taking them on hard punctuation, it's negative space, those of you who like art. It helps to define what's going on in the character. I find that a lot of actors kind of beginning their work with Shakespeare, they feel like they got to keep saying these lines. They got to keep spitting them out. Not so. You can stay true to the verse as long as you're pausing where there's hard punctuation. And I think that's a perfect example of where that can happen. Terrific. I realize this is a hard speech to kind of get started and stopped and started and stopped, but I like where it's going right now on this, and it's such a great speech. Thank you. Terrific. Lady Mac. So, Helena, right?
Yes.
Yes. Why'd you choose this one?
Honestly, I'm not her. Absolutely.
I hope not.
But I'm ambitious, but not ambitious for king's throne.
Yes.
So, but I'm ambitious for my husband too.
Yeah.
So then he was getting to higher rank. He is a policeman, a deputy sheriff. Of course, I've been ambitious for him. I wanted him to get what he wanted.
Okay.
And I believed in him. And I believed he was strong enough.
So you have a sense of how you can personalize
Yes.
this
Certainly.
decision, what she's doing, what she's done,
Certainly, but
short of
I
murder.
wouldn't go to her path
Yeah.
because we know how she ended.
Well, I don't think that she, I mean, not to go too far into this, but I don't think she realized how badly this was going to go for her.
Yes, she is a vulnerable person, and she's a human being full of feelings, and she probably anticipated that sense of guilt which
Yes.
came to her eventually and ate her up
Yes.
from inside.
Terrific.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So,
But I'm Christian, I wouldn't kill for any purpose. I'm not Catholic, I'm Orthodox Christian.
yes. Yeah.
It doesn't matter,
Sure.
yes.
So let's start then. Why don't you just go ahead and go through the speech, and then we'll see what we want to work with.
The raven himself is horse, that croaks the fatal entrance of Duncan under my battlements. Come, you spirits that pen down fatal thoughts, unsex me and fill me from my crown to the top full. Sorry.
Direst cruelty.
Yeah, top full of direst cruelty. Make thick my blood. Stop up the access and passage. I'm sorry. I'm
No,
so
you're
nervous.
fine. You're fine.
Stop up the access and passage.
You're fine.
I'm just stuck. I'm so sorry.
No, let me see if I brought it with me. I printed out some of, here, there's Mac. Did I bring Lady Mac?
I'm so sorry, guys.
No, you're fine.
okay.
You're fine. You're fine. You're fine.
I have a weakness. I can't fight my nervousness as good as you do.
We all do. We all go through it.
Yeah, but I don't have that much
Do you have the script
experience
with you?
maybe.
Do you have the script with you?
Oh, yes. of
Go ahead and
course.
get it.
I'm so sorry. Didn't
Through
want
the
to waste your
microphone.
time.
No, through my touch.
May I keep it? Just in case.
Okay.
May I start again?
Yeah,
From
yeah,
the
please
very
do.
beginning.
Please do.
The raven himself is horse that croaks the fatal entrance of Duncan under my battlements. Come, you spirits, that tent of the mortal thoughts, unsex me here and fill me from the ground to the top full of direst cruelty. Make thick my blood, stop up the excess and passage to remorse, that no compassion visitants of nature shape my fell purpose, or keep peace between the effect and it. Come to my woman's breast and take my milk for gall. You murdering ministers, wherever in your sightless substances you wait on nature mischief, come, take knife and pull thee in the dun smoke of hell, that my keen knife see not the wound it makes, nor heaven peep through the blanket of the dark to cry, hold, hold!
Okay, so, very nice, very nice, very nice. We see this quite a bit in Shakespeare, that his women are often lamenting the fact that they're not men, that they do not have the same options that men have,
Yes.
that they have to resort to, changing clothes or hiding themselves, or in this case, asking for evil spirits to take them over. I mean, most of this speech is an incantation. Do you know what I mean by incantation? She's literally welcoming black magic into her life so that she can,
servants
yes,
for help.
yeah, so that she can, in fact, have what she perceives the strength of a man.
Yes,
To
that's
be-
why she asked unsex me.
Unsex
She
me
wants
here.
to rid of her femininity. She wants to become a man to commit
Yeah,
murder.
yeah.
Murder.
And she,
Which-
yeah, no, that's exactly right. And I was going to draw attention to a latter speech that she has when her husband shows doubt about doing
Yeah.
this. She says, look, I've had a baby. I know what it means to have a child in my arms that's suckling. And if I had made this decision like you did, I would take that baby from my breast and I would dash its brains out. That's how committed I am. It says something about her. She is ready to go.
Oh, yeah.
Bring it on. I want this. I want this more than anything. So what I'd like to try, and it's going to be a little tricky for you, but we'll see how we do. We can just work for what we got. I think when she begins that incantation, come ye,
Youth.
yes, that's, I think she closes her eyes and she welcomes it. She opens herself to it. And I think physically that's what she's doing here. I think it might help you to disassociate yourself with us as you're trying to remember these lines. But you have a lovely quality with what you're doing with the language. I really like it.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Oh, please don't call me sir.
Sorry.
Yeah, I'm just joking. So can we try it from the top?
Okay. From the beginning.
Yeah, from the beginning, but when we get to the
Uh-huh.
incantation, I just want you to welcome whatever it is you're welcome. And let me ask you this, because this is tricky stuff. I can imagine that there are actors or actresses who that kind of playing could be problematic for them spiritually.
Yeah, I've been thinking, I'm supposed to be sincere.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
supposed
yeah.
to believe in what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So if I invite evil spirits, I go against my faith in God. But I know the actor and the actress, they're supposed to be a different person.
They are.
So I'm supposed to become the lady like that. So
Yes.
I'm not Helena anymore.
You are not
So
Helena
I'm not
anymore.
responsible.
I love the way you think.
Actually, I understand I do, but
That's exactly
God have
right.
mercy.
That's exactly right. And let me add one other thing too, when we go into this. Find some strength. Find some inner vocal, physical energy. Don't be shy about it. Commit as much as you can to the way you're speaking at that point. Okay? And again, if we run out of words, it's okay. We'll stop and start again. Okay? Yeah, we're good.
The raven himself is forth, that croaks the fatal entrance of Duncan under my battlements. Come, you spirits that tend on fatal thoughts, unsex me!
Good. I love that much. Okay, so let's go back. I'd like you to turn your back to us, okay, to start with. And in that first moment, I'm going to have you turn as if you're coming out of your a room in your house and you're coming outside. And it's one of those nights where there are no crickets, there are no frogs, there's no air traffic, there's no cars. It is that. It's silent. And you realize there are no ravens. There's nothing making noise. The raven himself is quiet tonight. Yeah. Kind of get the sense that, oh my, this is going to happen. You can feel it. Okay? So take us into the scene that way. When you go into the incantation, close your eyes.
The raven himself is
Now, I didn't
forth.
hear you listen for the come into the space and notice the fact that there's no sound.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's your first discovery.
The raven himself is forth.
Good, let me give you something else. Come back in, you're going to do it again. This time you're coming out because you're looking to see if your husband has made his way. You know, if he's on horse, perhaps you can see a lantern or something from far away. You're looking to see if he's even close. He's not here yet. Yeah.
Raven himself is horse that croaks the fatal entrance of Duncan under my battlements. Come, you spirits that tend on fatal thoughts.
Okay, now were you asking yourself, okay, this is where he told me to open my arms and to connect with it? Or did you, when I say subtext, do you know what I'm talking about? Okay, so was your subtext saying something else at that time? And if it was, what was it saying before you go into the gesture?
Didn't say me.
Yeah, so I think the subtext is, right, we played the moment of coming out and the husband, he's not here yet. It's very quiet tonight. It's because I'm not hearing any ravens, I'm not hearing any owls, I'm not hearing any. The raven himself is hoarse that croaks the fatal entrance of Duncan under my battlements. This might be the perfect time and maybe the perfect place to see if I can make happen what I've thought about happening. So I'm going to open myself up to it. And then I'm going to say the words. You see that whole progression? I think that'll help you kind of take us with you. Because people don't just walk outside and go, yeah, I think I'll start an incantation. You know what I mean? I think she needs a process there to get there. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
Much time as you want.
The raven himself is horse. That croaks the fatal entrance of Duncan under my bed. Come, you spirits that tend on fatal thoughts, and sex me here.
No, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. No, I mean it was so captivating, and you took me with you, you know. And I love that sense of here. Let me try this out and see if this works. And it, from a text standpoint, it gives her a place to. This is our beginning of our relationship with her. We begin to kind of see what she's doing. For
So
her just to
it's
be,
not her pleading to the spirits. It seems like she's happy to invite them.
Yes.
That's what you mean?
it is, but it's also, I'm playing off this notion that someone somewhere, or she might have read, I don't know, somewhere, that there's a way of calling for spirits. Maybe her mother taught her, maybe the lady next door, I don't know. But I think she benefits by having some kind of backstory that says, you know, if you want something bad enough and you're willing to sacrifice, then this might be a way of doing it.
Yep.
I always found it kind of tricky with her because, you know, she's so iconic. You know, not to say that Hamlet isn't, but she has this connotation of, you know, evil Lady Macbeth. I don't think she's evil at all. I think she's just someone who's...
No, she's not a sweet person, I believe. She
She's-
has something in her heart, rot in her heart. Otherwise, she wouldn't do that
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah,
She was probably a little bit cruel
yes,
by nature, is
Yeah.
what I think.
yeah. Tell me a little bit about yourself. Have you lived in Huntington long?
Yeah, I live in Barboursville.
You live in Barboursville?
Yeah.
Yeah. And have you done theater all along?
I'm not a professional
Oh.
actress at all.
Who is?
But I like theater. I used to play in amateur plays in museum. Then I was a museum curator, and so studied in Moscow University of Culture and Arts. So we did some acting too, and we learned that professional stage speech a little bit. But of course, I'm talking about Russia. I spoke
Right.
Russian. Now I have to try what I learned, just being speaking English.
You speak beautiful English. And,
Thank you.
and-
I'm not confident, actually.
It's all right, we'll do-
I feel I'm emphasizing the words.
no, that's all right. We'll do Chekhov sometime.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I like where you're going with this. I think it's good. It's good stuff. Good role.
Thank you. But I feel like Lady Macbeth is something very interesting for me
Yep.
to get involved, to try, and, you know, I'm cherishing that maybe some time I will be able to do it good
Yeah.
enough to perform.
Have
That's
a,
just
have
a dream.
a read or listen to, I think I turned you on to, Judi Dench has a book out, and she talks about all of her great Shakespearean work, good, bad, or indifferent. She talks about it, but she talks about she and Ian McKellen working on the Scottish play and how they had stripped so much of all of the histrionics away, and it was done very, very simply. You know, I think you have to be a woman of a sense of strength and stature. You have a wonderful aura about you. If I can get a little heady about the whole thing. You have a very interesting strength about you that I like in this role. So it's terrific. It's good work. Continue to work on that. Yeah, good, thank you.
Very memorized words.
That's all right.
I will feel more
You'll learn the
confident,
words. Fine.
free to go.
Yep. Okay.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. Now is the very witching time of night. No, we're I guess going to wrap it up. We can work together whenever. I'd love to do that. This has been fun. I love working with actors and playing. I love the opportunity to work with this group in particularly. I think it's yet another advancement in our relationship together and our growth together. We got to find a project that we can spend some serious time on together. I would really like to do that as an actor or as a director. So yeah, I know she red noses. I got you. I'm gonna sit down and take a look. But anyway, thanks guys. I really appreciate it. Enjoyed it.
Thank you, Jack.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jack. Thank you, everybody, for participating. You guys were great. Thank you for everybody that watched and commented and hung out online. Thank you for doing that, too. Thank you to the West Virginia Humanities Council for making this all free so we can offer it here at Alchemy Theater.
Yay.
Hope everybody has a great holiday season, and we have forms that we need everybody to fill out for the Humanities Council before we take off. Please, it's it'll take you 5 seconds. Thank you all, and good night.
Good night.
Thank you.
You